Hello one and all, and welcome back to my channel. If you happen to be stopping by for the very first time, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Donella and this is my little world of makeup right here on YouTube. So we are finally in the month of February, and we know February is the month of love. It's also known as Black History Month, so you guys know I have to throw something in there for Black History Month. Of my video uploads this month, I'm going to try to film something that has to do with Black history. So for those of you who don't really know me, yes, I already introduced myself. My name is Donella, but I just want to give you guys a quick rundown of what my channel is about. My channel is more so about teaching. I love when I get messages on my social media handles and persons ask me about certain products. You know, have you tried it? What do you think about it? Do you think I have such and such skin type? Do you think this is going to work for me? You know, I have discussions like this basically on a regular basis, and I always tell persons, you know, sometimes something might work for me and it doesn't work for you. Sometimes something might work for you and it doesn't work for me. It's all about trial and error, and it's really about the type of skin that you have. I always tell people this, you know, skin is so different. So if something doesn't work for you and it worked for me, it doesn't mean that I steered you in the wrong direction. You just have to keep in mind that skin is different for everybody. Even if you have oily skin, I'm like, okay, let me try to implement a routine that I saw Donella did on her channel, and then that didn't work. Maybe you may have had to add another product in, or you may have had to take something out, and then you realize your skin's condition is improving. You know, it's all about trial and error. I had to do the same thing too. I had to learn how to basically, you know, let me try this, let me take this out, let me put this in. You know, some cases the less you use, the more your skin improves. Sometimes you have to add more things in order for your skin to improve. But that's just basically like a, you know, like a quick rundown. I basically went all the way over into, from makeup all the way over into skincare. Yes, my channel is all about teaching persons things, you know, when it comes to makeup, when it comes to skincare. I don't know about hair. Nobody asked me about hair. Don't even try to attempt to ask me anything about hair. I do braids. Every now and then I throw on a wig, but you know, I more so would lean towards braids because, you know, these last, you know, a bit. And even though I have to change them up every now and then, I'm cool with that. But don't ask me nothing about no hair. Ask me about makeup, ask me about skincare, ask me about hygiene, ask me about those type of things. Please don't ask me anything about hair. So yeah, that's a quick rundown of what my channel is really about. So as a makeup lover, as a makeup enthusiast, as a makeup artist, we all know that we run out of things quite often. One of the products that I realized that I run out of quite often are concealers. I'm going to show you guys a trick that I do whenever I run out of my NC45 Pro Longwear concealer, and I have to use my NC42 in order to sculpt my eyebrows. As you guys can see, there's a hell of a shade difference. The NC45 is at least 2 shades lighter than the NC50, which is my actual true complexion. So whenever I run out of this, I always use this as a replacement. I'm just going to show you guys real quick how you can do that. You know, if you run out of your favorite concealer that you use to sculpt your eyebrows, you can always use a lighter shade as a backup, but you have to know how to do this. So I'm going to go in with my NC45 with my by the way, I use my Fenty Beauty Brow MVP pencil to sculpt my eyebrows out. I think this is dark brown, right? Yeah, it's dark brown. So I'm going to go in with this. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. The NC45 is on this side, and then I'm going to put the NC50 on this side. Just so you guys can see, it doesn't matter if I use a lighter shade of concealer. I'm always going to make sure that my eyebrows look exactly as it should, the correct shade of concealer. So this is the NC50 now, so I'm going to go in with that and sculpt my eyebrows out. Okay, so you guys can see there's definitely a difference in terms of the shade color just below my brow bone. So what I normally do whenever I use my NC45, when I run out of my NC50, which is hardly, on a few occasions it has happened, this is what I do. I normally go into my Studio Fix powder from MAC in the shade NW48. This is like already down to the pan, so I don't even have to show you guys this. And what I normally do is that I drag a shade of the NW48 right over that NC45. So even though I use a lighter shade of concealer, this is going to just cover up some of that lightness, and it doesn't look as harsh as it would. And then of course I'm going to go over on this side and do the same thing. Also be sure to blend out the foundation like upwards into your skin, because you already know you don't have the shade of concealer that that matches your skin's complexion. So if you use your foundation, be sure to blend it out so you don't see that hash line either. So, because even though you use a bit of your foundation and you still have that very hash line, you know, that line that you basically use to sculpt out your eyebrows, you still have to blend her out. Take a blending concealer brush or some sort of blending brush that you normally use to blend out your brows, and make sure that that baby is nice and blended. Oh, and another trick that I normally do, you know, whenever you first sculpt your eyebrows out, you know, you'd always have that square shape right here at the beginning. Now you can use your pinky tip to do this, but I actually like to use this brush that I use to blend out the foundation at the top portion, because there's a bit of product on it and I feel like it actually blends everything well. So I just like to do like this. No, don't do it too harsh, because you're gonna rub out, because you're gonna remove the bit of powder that you placed there. So I normally just like to do it like this, just to make sure that everything is nice and blended. And then I go in with my spoolie and I just drag everything upwards. It's a little trick. You don't have to do what I do, but that's normally what I do in order to get away in order just to remove that bit of square shape right there. And I kind of, you know, messed up right there, so I'm just going to fill it back in real quick. All right, so now that we spent like an hour on our brows, let's move on to our complexion. Now, as you guys already know, I have golden undertones. So what I like to do is shade my face according to the colors that I see on my face. Now, I know some persons are wondering, what is she talking about, you know? But makeup is kind of like painting. You have, as they say, the perfect canvas. I don't think I have the perfect canvas, but I'm just repeating, you know, what persons normally say. You have the perfect canvas, or you have the canvas that you have to work with. I know the outer perimeter of my face is actually the darkest, and then right here I have a bit of darkness. Underneath my eyes I have a bit of darkness, and then in these areas here where I normally highlight, I could see a bit of my golden undertone coming out. So what I would normally do, I've already applied my primer. I use the pore minimizing primer from CoverGirl, the True Blend Base Business Pore Minimizing Skin Primer. I use this alone for this tutorial, and I'm going to go in with my Fenty Hydrating Foundation. This one is in the shade 445. I haven't seen my first impressions on this foundation. It's about 3 or 4 videos. It's about 3 videos back. I basically applied the foundation to the perimeter of my face where I want to hit. And I think I mentioned this in my last 2 video uploads. Started blending out my foundation in this direction because of the shape of my face. I've started basically going upwards just so that it blends out faster, quicker, and the product is placed in its rightful place, so to speak. I normally take whatever is left over on my hand and whatever is left over on the beauty blending sponge. By the way, this is another sponge from Colored Rain. Remember the collection that I told you guys I bought? I think I mentioned it in my last video or 2 ago. I'm not sure, but I bought a collection of sponges from Colored Rain. There are assortment of colors. This one is a green one, so I'm using this green one for this video. So I'm basically just going to be tapping this around because my forehead, of course, has a lot of, you know, area right here. So I normally take some time to blend this out, but in this area right here, yeah, I go upwards. It's much easier, and because my face is long, honey, I just blend out in no time. Okay, so next I'm going to go into the shade Chestnut and make sure that I have Chestnut. That was not Chestnut. I picked up the wrong thing. The lighting makes everything look lighter than it normally should. So I'm just going to go into Chestnut now, and I'm going to apply this as my highlighting shade. I'm going to place this in exactly where I want the areas to be. Ooh, I had a hell of a sneezing session here just now. So I'm actually placing Chestnut in the areas where I want to highlight. You guys know how I do this. I really don't go all the way down on the bridge of my nose because I feel like my nose is so big. That's how I feel. Now y'all tell me it ain't big, but that's how I feel. I can't help how I feel. To go in using my Colored Rain sponge first, just to blend out the edges. Just like that. And then I'm going to go in using a bit of spice rum just so I can still see me done this before in a previous tutorial where I applied my NYX concealer. Basically that is my skin's complexion underneath my highlight. My highlight color is just basically to get everything blended in nice and seamless. Okay, so I'm actually going to switch sponges, and then I'm just going to go ahead and blend out chestnut from here upwards and then outwards, downwards, upwards, outwards. And I'm just going to do this technique. This is going to take a bit of time because, you know, blending actually takes a bit of time. And then I'm just going to take the excess and drag it over my very dark eyelids because I have dark eyelids, basically just to make sure that everything is nice and blended. Now that we have our concealer nice and blended out, the next thing we're going to move on to is setting the areas that we would have highlighted. Now the translucent powder I normally use, it depends on how I want the overall finish to look. Whether I want to use my honey powder because I really want more golden, in my look, like I want the finished look to, you know, basically highlight the areas and make them look more golden. Or if I'm looking for a bit of brightness, then I would go in with my banana powder. You know, if I feel like, you know, everything is just looking a little bit too dark and flat and I need to lift it up a bit. I can use a honey powder, of course, to do that, but I feel like the banana powder is really more so of a brightening powder. Looking for more so of a lift and a brightening to my face, then I use a banana powder. In some cases, I actually mix both of them, where I use a bit of the brightening right directly underneath my eye, and then I use the honey powder underneath. Now the shade of honey is exactly like this very famous Sacha Buttercup powder, but you guys know I have been sold on Fenty ever since it came out. I just basically love the way how the Fenty powder absorbs the excess oil that my skin naturally produces over the Sacha Buttercup powder. I feel like it definitely is a retouch powder, and it just does everything that it says. Everything that it says in its claims, it does that. I'm also pressing some of the Fenty powder in my upper lip area, even though I used the spice from there because I want that area to also set. I also sweat right here. I'm just going to also cover up the areas and I'm also going to go in with the same powder and press it into the concealer that I applied to my forehead and then right here on my chin. So now that I've completed that, you guys can actually see the areas that I highlighted. The centermost portion of your face is actually supposed to be highlighted, and then you can see the outer perimeter of your face where you would apply your contour cream, your contour powder, your bronzer, whichever one that you prefer. As of late, I've really just been okay with using a bronzer, and you guys know the one that I've been using. I've been saying it all this time on my channel, this one from Prime Beauty, and I'm just going to go ahead and just add a bit of bronzer in those areas where I want to look more bronzed. You know, hit those key areas where you really want to look really nice and bronzed. To add just a bit of it to my jawline so that everything just kind of ties in. I think you guys would have seen this brush in some tutorials ago where I always tell you guys this is like the final brush that I use. Sometimes it's not the final, sometimes it's the final and the second to last final brush that I normally use after I've applied my complexion products, and I just use this basically to press my powders and everything into my skin before I apply my setting spray. So that's basically it, and then I'm just going to apply a bit of eyeshadow and come back to complete the rest of my face. Alright guys, so I am back and this is the completed look. Oh, let me just run through the products that I use real quick to complete my lip look, because I use like 3 different shades of thing. Alright, so I lined my lips with my the same brown lip liner that I normally use. Then I use my Pixie by Petra shade in Or Natural as a base. Then I applied my ultra lip gloss from Colourpop over it in the shade Lesson Learned, and then I finished it off with a bit of my where she go? Why am I always losing things? I literally just here she is. And I finished it off with my Fenty mini gloss in the shade Confetti. I have like 3 colors on my lips because I'm that extra. Alright guys, so I really hope that you enjoyed this video, and I really hope that you guys learn something in terms of the placement of your complexion products on your face. Everybody's shade is obviously not going to be the same as I am, but this whole video is basically about you understanding the different areas on your face and how the product placement is actually really important. All right, so if you happen to have enjoyed this video, please be sure to give it a big thumbs up on your way out. And also, if you have a video request in mind, please be sure to drop me a comment down in the comment section and let me know the type of video that you want me to film next. Thank you guys so much for being here with me once again, and I'll talk to you guys real soon on my next upload. Bye bye.